So that I
Yeah.
think that is one of the keys in entrepreneurship, that sometimes you don't have to go and recreate a whole brand new wheel. It's just like refine it. It's already
Right.
existing. Put a new tire on it, design a new
Right.
tire, you know? Hi, I'm Dana White, founder and host of One Real Story, the podcast and book series, where we provide entrepreneurs with practical advice through the voices of successful entrepreneurs. If you're a veteran, aspiring, or an established entrepreneur, this show is for you. As always, I'm coming to you live from the Voice Hub production studio in India Atlantic, Florida. Our special guest today is an Air Force veteran that has a compelling story on his way to being a successful entrepreneur. His experience in the military has afforded him the opportunity to expand his network and create residual income as an entrepreneur. After relocating from East Texas to Florida, he worked as a regional marketing and trainer for recruiters and founded his company called Skyline Canopies. So my brother in arms, Air Force veteran, Sean Christian. How you doing, Sean?
Doing good, Dana, my man. Thanks for having me on, brother.
Look, don't mind my fumbling over my words every now and then. This is just called One Real Story, so we're giving it to you raw cuts.
That's all good, man. Those are my Seanisms. If you go to my podcast and you listen to me and my buddies talk, they give me a hard time because I can't say words right all the time. So we're good.
But where you from though? You from the South?
I am. Well, I'm from Texas.
Exactly.
God's country, Texas.
So it's a Southern dialect that comes into play when you're trying to speak proper,
right?
So people can understand you. That's when I fumble.
Yeah, like right quick. Where you going? I'm gonna go to the store. Right quick. Right what? Right quick. I'm gonna be right back, man. Come on.
There you go. Right. I'm fixing to go do something.
Yeah.
All right. So, Sean, first of all, thanks again for having you on the show. Thanks for your time.
Yeah.
So can you tell me a little bit about your Air Force career? How long have you been enlisted?
Sure, absolutely. I hit 20 years this past August, and I feel like that I just got off that blue bus and basic training and to get on that little steps to get yelled at. And it's been pretty incredible. It's been an amazing journey, and that's kind of why I became a recruiter 10 years ago, is to tell that Air Force story. I believe it's such a viable option in opportunities for today's youth. And back in the day, I remember saying, "Oh, if you can't go into college, look in the military." Man, I'd love to be in that argument room now. And on contrary, I think military first, especially the Air Force first, and then college. And when you look at financials, we're going to pay for all that stuff, right? So it's an easy win. 20 years in the service. Sign me up again. I don't know about that, but anyway, I would never go back on that decision. Got about another year left as far as active duty commitment works, and I'll retire with 21 years and 1 month in service, and I'm looking forward to the next chapter. Yeah.
Thank you for your service, sir.
Yeah.
So I can remember when I got off the bus at Lackland, and I was like, what did I just do? But I know it's going to be a life-changing experience, and I never regretted any minute of it. But I definitely agree with you. Like, I think that for young individuals, if they're still trying to figure out what they want to be and what they can do while they're figuring it out, I think the Air Force is a great start to align you up with more opportunities than you could have even imagined without the college debt. You know?
Yeah. I mean, even most adults, and I'd be curious on what the statistics say now, but most people don't have a job that's related to their degree. And as you experience life, your wants and your goals and your needs, they tend to shift and change every few years. Yeah. I remember doing some research, and I was about to give a presentation to a high school in Longview, Texas, and the data that I found that 54% of high school students, again, this was back in like 2012, 54% of high school students made their decision, their college degree decision, based on how much money they thought it would land them outside of college. Mm-hmm. And You've got two. You've got happiness or you got money. You can't have both, but what do you want first? What's more important, right? Money or happy? You can't buy happiness.
Yeah.
But I think happiness can buy you money because that's where the entrepreneurial spirit comes in, right? You'll hustle you'll chase that dream. So, and that's what the Air Force has really taught me.
Yeah, I think that's you hit the nail on the head with that because I know I joined late because back in my day when high school I wasn't trying. My mom was in the military, but you couldn't tell me what to do. I was very, I stayed out of trouble, but I didn't like to be told what to do. However, I realized with going the engineering route that you either incur a lot of student loans, and then if you really want to be impactful in your life and leave more of a legacy or do something that you can tell your grandkids about,
Sure.
I joined the Air Force at like 31. So,
dang, man, you old, bro.
hey, the pot calling the kettle black. Okay, so I'll take that. With age comes wisdom.
I'll take that. I agree, man. I ain't gonna disagree with that one.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
So with being in the Air Force, right, in the military, what skills have you learned that has helped you on your entrepreneurship journey?
It's such a great question, and it's hard to pinpoint it to one or two things, and I'll try to keep it brief because I think as you grow up and you experience and you get a lot of no's and you mess up a lot, without knowing it, you're learning something. You're learning whether you're gonna overcome or you're gonna prevail, right? So I think the biggest skill that I've learned throughout the Air Force to help me be a better businessman or a business person or an entrepreneur is transparency. And I think that's key, whether you're going to own your own business or you're going to be a stellar colleague in a business or a VP or a COO or a CFO. Transparency at all levels, even if you're a waiter, as simple as, hey, we're behind, but I'm going to see you as soon as I can. There's nothing wrong with being a little behind in the kitchen, right?
Yeah.
And transparency goes such a long way. And that could be the communication between the CEO and their employees, and then the frontline employees to their customers.
Yes.
And I'm big on brand loyalty. I'm very big on that. I will go out of my way to use a product or a service because I feel like I'm valued by the company. And the only way you can get there is through communication and transparency. So early in my Air Force career, I was young, right? I was 18, 19. I was chasing certain things, and it wasn't a job. And I was a young single guy living in Europe, traveling all over the place, and my eyesets were on something else. But when I grew up, and that was really only 10 years. I was in the Air Force 10 years before I grew up, man. It took me a long time. And I've learned some valuable lessons which has made me a better husband. It's going to make me a better leader. It's going to make me a better entrepreneur. And one day it will make me a phenomenal entrepreneur. So.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
So some of those things I think you've taken them from recruiting, right?
Yeah.
So,
yeah. 2011, I got into recruiting service. The first 10 years of the Air Force, I was in logistics and transportation. And I just kind of knew deep down that really wasn't what I wanted to do. However, when I first came in, I didn't care. Just get me out of Dodge, man. I'd take any job you give me. And I'd even be a cop if they would have gave it to me. But
hey. Now.
I know you're a cop. That's why I said that. But so the first 10 years was really just learning the business of the Air Force. There is a business and then there's your job, right? And those are two very distinct, separate conversations. But when I kind of grew up a little bit and I became an Air Force recruiter, for Air Force recruiting service, they kind of give you the keys to your office and say, hey, go fill the needs of the Air Force. Now, granted, there's training programs and you've got a boss just like anyone, right? There's standard operating procedures, but they give you a computer, they give you a car, they give you a budget, and they say, go execute. And there I am sitting with my hands up. I don't know what to do, right? With my hands. And that was the first thing. I think that's what a lot of entrepreneurs feel like sometimes, where they're like, okay, I know I want to be here. I know I want to represent this product or this service because I believe in it, but what do I do? So there was a lot to learn there, and I'm sure we'll get into some of this stuff later on in the conversation. But recruiting service taught me how to market, taught me how to speak, taught me how to, take no in the face, the thing that no entrepreneur wants to hear. No. What it did for me, no doesn't mean no, it just means not right now, right? And there were so many young people that said no, and I built the relationship with them, and then they ended up shipping out for basic training, and I still keep in touch with them. Some of them have even gotten out now, and I think they're all better for it, and I was better for it, being a part of their experience. So
that's awesome. That's awesome, because you touched on a point where it's relationships and where it goes from internal to the customer, but that just goes on the motto of people do business with who they know, like, and trust.
Yep.
Just as you continue not to forget that, and you hearts and minds, then you're going to be able to achieve many heights within your business and entrepreneurship. And then the no part, right? I've heard many no's. I've heard to the point of where the business was 3 years in and this is not going nowhere. And look at us now. I have founder of one company, J. Media marketing agency, co-founder of, Voice Hub. And we have One Real Story and dropping a book series. So like you said, no it's not right now. Yeah. So I definitely agree with you.
And no's one of the biggest motivators anyone can receive. Yeah, I remember the job that I'm in now. Somebody that told me that I couldn't get it because that wasn't the way that recruiting service did business on how we place people in jobs. And it was one of those, all right, watch this. And, maybe out of spite, I went after the job. I ended up getting it, but no motivates me for sure.
Well, you're a rare breed. You're a rare breed, my friend. So now, because you've done 21 years in the Air Force, correct?
Yeah.
All right.
Soon, next September, it'll be 21. I'm just over 20.
Okay. So we're almost there, right?
Yeah.
And then you're going to be starting some of your transitioning out, right, to the civilian world. So are there any special programs that help you? And then are you looking to secure a job or fully go into your fully commit to your entrepreneurship journey?
Sure. So great question again. There's a program called the Department of Defense, or DoD Skills Bridge program. It's probably one of the best programs that I've seen in the 21 years that I've been in. And what this program does is it allows any branch of service transition out of their commitment within 6 months of their separation or their retirement date. So I'll use my case as an example. My official retirement date is 1 September of 21. As early as the 8th of March of 21, I will basically leave my full-time job now. I'll still be in paid status and go learn a new skill, a new trade, or maybe there's something like broadcasting, or I wanted to go work for a media company. I say I've always wanted to learn the business of that. I can go do an internship with that company, and obviously they wouldn't have to pay me. I couldn't get paid because it's a true internship program. The Air Force would still pay my full wages, my housing, and all the other benefits that I get. And then I do that for a few months, and then I go on leave, and then I separate. Which is now at the end of that internship, you would hope there would be an opportunity for job placement. So for me, I did find a company that I'm doing an internship with. I did negotiate a hiring position because I'm an all-in kind of guy, right? And I don't mean to sound cocky, but this is going to sound cocky. When I go into a new role, I'm all in, Dana. Like, I'm all in.
Yeah.
And there's value. I'm going to add a ton of value to that organization because one, I still got the energy maybe as an 18-year-old kid or 21, 22-year-old kid fresh out of high school, college that's eager to get their first job. So, but with that, I also bring a ton of experience, a ton of insight.
Mm-hmm.
I would not do my family any justice if I didn't go to the negotiating table and say, hey, I'm going to put some all in effort here. We need to talk about job placement. And that's how I kind of determined which skills bridge program that I went through. So I was able to land a good job. That doesn't mean I'm going to be at that job forever, but I landed a great job that's going to allow me to continue the lifestyle that I'm accustomed to.
Yeah.
At a minimum, right? So I can only go up, and which is great for my family. So I'm really excited about the next chapter. I'm nervous. The Air Force is all I know, right? This is all I know. But I'm super grateful for the opportunity, and I'm excited on what's on that other side. So
that's good because, most or some, I don't want to say most, but some people really don't grasp the concept of the devotion to military duty. And you spent 21 years of your life that you cannot get back.
Yeah.
And now you're looking to become normal again, right?
Yeah.
Into the civilian world. So when there's some people out there where they feel like, veterans shouldn't get as many benefits or, but that's 21 years of your life that you spent protecting this country or helping, place individuals into positions to better help our country for the defense.
Yeah.
Right. So I think that the program that you're in is very much needed. And I think that's a great thing that Air Force has.
Yeah, it's a win, especially for some of these younger folks that only do 4 or 6 years, and they don't really know. At least for the folks that are retiring, we've got the majority of us have degrees, and we have a plethora of experience. You think about on a 4-year enlistment in the Air Force, your first year, you're learning what the Air Force is, right? And then year 2 and year 3, you're kind of getting familiar with your job, whether you're an engineer or a cop. I mean, how efficient can you be within 2 years? And then year 4, you're transitioning out. So it goes fast on a 4-year commitment. And I think this program is phenomenal for a 4-year and 6-year enlistee because, I mean, that their time goes. I think about how fast my time went. I look at those folks that only did 4 or 6 years. That could be a blink in the eye. It's crazy. So,
So now, as you transition, you've actually, I guess, teamed up with your wife, right?
Yeah.
Did one of the hustler. You found a good one.
Yeah.
And you guys founded Skyline Canopies.
Yeah.
Can you tell me a little bit why did you start and how is the experience of working with your wife?
Well, one, she's the boss. We'll make that clear. Happy wife, happy life. She is the boss. And I will say this. I think a lot of people they misunderstand entrepreneurship. Entrepreneurs don't create or invent, they notice, right? They notice a gap where a problem exists. And I'll use Steve Jobs as the example. Is he noticed a problem that we didn't even know we had with the iPhone. He didn't know he was so compelling with his ability to think every person will have a computer in their pocket. And at the time, it was like, why would I, if you think back then on how big computers were and what they were used for, I think the common adult would think, well, that's the craziest thing I've ever heard. He knew. He saw the opportunity. I mean, he was a man of vision. And I think, and I'm not even close to being the circle of Steve Jobs, but I want to say that every entrepreneur does have something that Steve Jobs have, is they see the opportunities that other people don't see. And being from a marketing background, there's so many phenomenal companies and services out there that people that aren't aware. Right. I believe that curb appeal, right? I don't know if you've ever sold a house. So when you sell your house, you want to make sure the grass is cut, it's dusted, it looks good, right? Because when someone pulls up into that driveway, you want them to be you want them to see them in that house, right?
Yeah.
Same thing goes with someone's business. Or if you're at an event, let's say you're at an event and I'm right beside you and we got a 12 by 12 space, and a person walks up and they see my business with a custom tent. There's colors, there's information. They don't even need to walk up to me to know who I am. They can just see me.
Yeah.
And then they look over to you and there's a table. And that's it, right?
Yeah.
The look on my company versus your company, they're night and day. And I would suspect, I would put money on that they would probably come to me before they would go to you, especially if we're selling the same product or the same service. So what I noticed is the lack of brand awareness was one. And then two, how easy I could fix that problem through canopies, table covers, and banners. I found a great manufacturer that was great to do business with, and the quality was good. And again, the quality can be great, but if your customer service lacks, you're not going to be able to scale. And this is where my wife was able to literally catapult Skyline Canopies. And as I stepped back because of my role in the Air Force was pretty overwhelming. And I'm going to brag on her, but year over year, she has grown this business, because when people think of Skyline Canopies, they think of Sandra Christian because of her genuine nature to hear someone's problem. And whether they're buying from her or not, she wants to be a listener, right? She provides the transparency that we talked about earlier, through the process, through the product, how long it takes to get there. And if we do say no, this is why we can't do what the customer asked. Because let's be real, the customer isn't always right. They're just misinformed.
Oh yeah,
right?
Absolutely.
Right. When they get informed with the right information, then they understand. But so Skyline Canopies, now my mom came up with the name, but the opportunity, and I saw it once the idea popped in our head, I saw it everywhere. And as you know, as an entrepreneur, you can't stop that burning desire. You just have to. It's like you're thirsty, that you've got to satisfy that thirst. And I had to satisfy that burning desire to go out and create Skyline Canopies. And my wife has just crushed it. She's just killing it. It's phenomenal.
But I think it's phenomenal because you didn't go out. By the way, Apple, Steve Jobs said he envisioned computers in the pocket, but do you know how long we've been waiting on flying cars? So,
I know.
But that's a good one. But you didn't go out to recreate the wheel. You seen a simple opportunity that could be something to make a huge impact. So I think that is one of the keys in entrepreneurship, that sometimes you don't have to go and recreate a whole brand new wheel. It's just like refine it. It's already existing. Right. Put a new tire on it, design a new tire, with a different type of material. So that's a pretty compelling story. And the fact that you're able to team up with your wife and be successful together, not individually.
Yeah. So. And I think when you go into business with your family, you have to learn, and this is very hard to do, you have to learn when to be business. When am I the business partner, or when am I she's the boss, right? I'm the consultant, right? I consult with her.
Yeah.
And then when do I become the husband? And that just takes practice and commitment to your marriage. And marriage is hard enough, and to add business and money and all that stuff into the mix. Again, it goes back to transparency and communication. No matter if you're running your business or you're running your family, you have to have those ingredients in order to be successful in the home front and in your business.
Absolutely. Great. So now everything can't be all peaches and cream, right? So what type of failures, what are some of your biggest failures that you had, and how did you overcome them?
Man, that's a really hard question, because I guess I don't consider certain failures as failures. I've been one to own my failures, and maybe my failure is not recognizing that they were failures at the time. And I remember the first time one of the orders that we had got to the customer and it was wrong. And there was some miscommunication, right? It's all communication on what what the rendering was approved and what wasn't approved. He wanted a certain sign, how it was designed. And between us and our manufacturer and the customer, his true vision of what it was supposed to look like got lost. And he ended up getting shipped the wrong one, and he wasn't able to use the product that he was trying to use it for the event that he had set up. So I remember when that happened, and I was excited. I was excited that we sent him, and I'll tell you why. I know you're smiling. I was excited that we messed up. You know why?
I'm waiting.
Because I got to fix the problem. Because a company is only as good as their problems, right? If you can't bounce back from doing something wrong, it's not the end of the world. Mm-hmm. We're not dying, right? We're not in combat. We're not getting bullets shoot at. At the end of the day, a product was shipped wrong. It happens every single day. And I couldn't control that the manufacturer sent the wrong product. Now that identified my QC process. So I learned from that. And then I got to show the customer how valuable they are to me. So we shipped them a new product, and then we gave them for future products an additional percentage off, right? And then I called him personally and said, I'm so sorry, I'm going to fix it. And we fixed it within the week. There's so many times when I'm using a product or a service and there's no accountability from the owners or from whoever you're doing business with. So I think the biggest failures that I've learned is identifying my failures and saying, Sean, you can't be doing that. You need to learn from this, step back, reflect on it. How can you get better and then impress? So I don't know if that answers your question, because I don't look at my failures as failures. I look at them as opportunities to grow.
Well, I mean, that's how you see it, and that's what you've identified. Yeah. You don't acknowledge failures. And you know what? You have to see shortcomings through a different lens and to be able to be successful. And I think that that's one of the biggest things. Not only did I take from the military, but because I had it a little bit prior before that, not a little bit, but I had it prior to the military. But you really set yourself apart when you're able to keep pressing on through the shortcomings or the shortfalls, and you don't call them failures, right? I'm not a failure. It's just a shortcoming. You have every other name in the book for it. So just to keep pressing on. But
he goes, it's just like nobody told me no. They just said no right now. They just didn't know it.
Yeah. Yeah. So what type of marketing advice would you give for an aspiring entrepreneur?
Yeah. So, you've got two things. You got the sale, you've got the marketing. My brother-in-law, he lives in Sweden. So my wife's from Europe. Her family are all entrepreneurs. And I'm not a carpenter. I'm not. I will put a hole in the wall if I'm hanging a picture. That's how bad it is. And obviously during COVID, I found myself with a whole bunch of extra time, and I have always wanted a patio in the backyard. So guess what? I built a patio. And I remember going to my brother-in-law and saying, hey, man, what do I do? He said, just start digging. Fair enough. And I have a patio, and it was brutal. I just started, right? And if you're a new entrepreneur and you think you've got to have your money right, you think you've got to have your logo right, you think you've got to have everything in place, you're wrong. When I started Skyline Canopies, I didn't have a logo. I don't even think I had a name, but I had a sale. I sold.
Yeah.
And in that sale, and actually the sale went to our common buddy. That was my first sale. And had I not had that sale, it paid for my LLC. And then I had another sale. And then I had another sale. So my advice would be you are further along in your entrepreneur venture or adventure than you are. Just look around you. You've got the people that support you. You've got instant feedback. Just start digging.
Just do it.
Yeah, just do it.
Nice. So, as you get started and as you transition, making sure you have a strong network is important, but how impactful is it to have it when starting a new business?
I think saying the word important, it's probably not the right word. I would say it's vital, man. Like you have to have it, and that your friends are going to give you feedback. Your friends are also going to say you're crazy,
Yeah.
and that's going to test your grit. Right. I'd rather be tested by someone close to me than somebody who doesn't know me, because, somebody who doesn't know you, they may not be all, they're going to say, yeah, it's great. And they're going to walk away. They're going to be like, yeah, man, that's horrible.
Yeah.
Right. Your friends are going to be honest with you. They're going to be transparent. So your community is vital. You can test the market, right? All those hot leads, all that, you got your hot market, your cold market, right? Your hot market, that's going to help you lay that foundation. Without my relationships that I had in Florida when I first started this, I wouldn't have been able to sell anything. And not just, it has nothing, selling is only one aspect of it, but the other part is just trying to figure out what you're going to represent, the logo name, your business model. They're vital to the entire process. And without a strong network and a strong community awareness, then you're going to struggle a little bit more.
Yeah, I have to agree. I mean, network is the heartbeat to your business.
Yeah.
I think even when you're getting started, you don't know where to start. I would say maybe your local chamber. That's what helped us. For being in an area straight out of the military at Cocoa Beach. I'm not from Cocoa Beach, so it's a smaller town. So people do business with who they know, like, and trust. So I had to get into the community in order to make an impact. So I joined the local chamber of commerce. So that's how you can grow your network and establish a network. But now that's how important it is to our listeners.
Yeah. So if I can, a great book. I'm an avid reader. I wish I could read more, but Ken Coleman. I don't know if you heard of Ken Coleman. He's got his own podcast, and he wrote a book called The Proximity Principle. And what it talks about is you don't need the right experience or the right degree, or you don't have the X amount of money, but if you are in proximity to the thing that you want, and you get that through relationships, you get that through people knowing your name. The relationship holds way more weight than your resume. If I just submitted a resume, it's going to go in the pile.
Yeah.
But if I know somebody who knows somebody that's in that company, he'll go to the person reviewing the resumes, and he's going to say, hey, you need to pull Sean's resume. And now I'm at the top. So I would advise anybody, build relationships first. Everything else will work itself out.
Nice. Great advice. So now, residual income.
Yeah.
Now that is something that everyone talks about, everyone wants to have, right? Passive income. But how important is it to you to have this type of revenue?
I think it's super important. And years ago, my wife and I, we got into a network marketing company, and I know the stigma behind it and the reputation they have, and it's a pyramid scheme. It's just the way how money flows, right? If you look at the structure, and I'm not going to defend or not defend pyramid scheme or multi-level marketing or network marketing, but I will say this: there's a ton of value you can learn from those, and you got to just take it with a grain of salt. It's just the way the business model works. So what I love about residual income is I can go to sleep and make money. And or I can go on vacation and make money. If you are the key ingredient to making your money, if you stop, or if you get sick, or if you end up in the hospital for something unknown and you're out of commission, how are you going to take care of that family? How are you going to take care of those bills? Because you know what? You got residual bills, but you ain't got no residual income. Your bills are going to come in. They don't take vacation. So why wouldn't you have residual income to satisfy those residual bills? And I've always thought about the rule of 7, money in, money out. If I can have 7 different streams of income, especially in COVID.
Yeah.
Right. This is a prime example. Nobody was ready for this. And in fact, I was crazy, and I opened up a bar and restaurant in North Carolina in the middle of COVID. June the 12th, we opened. Now that's crazy, right? I talked to one of my investor buddies yesterday, and we are in the gray. We are making ends meet. We are paying bills. We're taking care of our employees. We're not in the red. If we can come out strong, it's going to be a good thing.
You're either crazy or you're a genius.
Yeah, right. Exactly. I don't care. I'll take both.
Right.
You know, but you've got it. The rule of 7. Try to identify 7 ways to bring some income. If you just go to work, come home, and you get 1 check a week, I challenge you to look. You've got some opportunities at your fingertips. You're just not looking, or you're not taking enough risk. Everyone needs to take some risk. So.
Yeah, I think the risk factors. Who has the biggest cojones in entrepreneurship, and then you still have to do it tactfully, right? You can't be out there, in the wild, wild west like a cowboy, and you're going to lose a lot of money. But
right.
I agree with your residuals. And
you can't get stressed. When I invested that money for that bar and restaurant, I considered it a loss. It's sunk cost. It's already gone. Because now I can focus on the revenue.
Right.
If I focus on the cost, on the money that I've already lost, I'm just going to get stressed out. It's not going to do nobody good. It's not going to do any good between me and my wife, because all I'm going to do is talk about how I lost the money. That ain't fun.
Yeah.
But it's all about your mindset. You got to shift the mindset a little bit.
All right. So push towards those residual income, seven sources. All right. So Sean, now, getting ready to wrap up here. What are your plans now for the future projects or business?
So like we mentioned earlier about the DoD Skills Bridge program, I was a little different from what I thought I was going to end up doing. I really thought I was going to end up in sports marketing. It's something that I'm very passionate about. I love our experiential marketing. That's kind of my focus now. I'm marketing through events, creating emotion, creating an experience. A good friend of mine, he's a president of a company called Residual Insurance, and what they specialize is business to business, property and casualty, and credit insurance. And what credit insurance is, it serves as it insures a company's receivables. And I'm a believer in the business. I love small businesses, and I love seeing people scale. Right. We got it, but at the same time, we have to do things to protect ourselves and to kind of explain what credit insurance is. And I'm still learning, again, Skills Bridge, right? I'm a rookie, and I'm going to be an intern. Imagine you're the manufacturer and I'm the retailer, and I'm going to buy $1 million worth of assets from you. That's a lot of work that you have to do up front without getting paid, right? Yeah. So let's say we do 90 days on the term. Well, Residual Insurance comes in and they insure that transaction. They ensure that you get your $1 million before the 90-day mark. And if I don't pay you, you file the claim, the insurance company pays you, and then they come after me, right? So it's a win. I mean, and then it goes both ways, and it has to do with credit. So there's some other particulars, but I think that you get the gist of it. I'm excited about this is because now I can go to, especially after COVID, and especially where a lot of these businesses have lost a ton of capital, have lost a lot of customers. I hope to go back and help them regain that capital through insuring some of their transactions, so they can scale up and get back to doing what they do, and that's serving the customer.
Okay, nice. Yeah. So Sean, in closing, where can everyone find you?
Man, have you heard of Omnipresence?
No.
Omnipresence, man, I'm everywhere, bro. That's Omnipresence, man.
Nice.
If you go on Google, I do have my own podcast show. It's called the Rando Podcast. And if you just want to kind of brain dump and listen in, we'd love to have you as a listener. And we talk about really anything. There's 3 of us. It's myself. We got a host, and then we have what we call him the permanent guest. I can't get rid of him, so we just gave him a title. And you can also go, if you want to engage with my wife, Sandra, SkylineCanopies.com. You'll see her face pop up, and she's like, "How can I help you?" Say hi. We'd love to meet you. We'd love to engage with you. So thanks for asking. Yeah.
Oh, sweet. Thanks. All right. So once again, thanks a lot, Sean. And then to our listeners, thank you for your time, and let us know what you think of our show. Stay tuned. There's more to come. with our book series and podcast episodes. So if you have any questions or would like to continue to be inspired, you can always find us at onerealstory.com and then on all the social media platforms. So in closing, remember, impossible is nothing. If there is a will, there is a way to overcome any obstacles that you may be faced with. Thanks a lot. Talk to you soon.